So we finished constructing this PE column, so let's just press enter and let's go to the table view to see how this shows up in the table. So we're here at the historical daily data table, and the PE ratio is here calculated. Let's scroll down, see once we get to this point, July 2023, we find that PE ratio is blank. So let's keep scrolling down. This situation actually continues all the way to July 2024. So pretty much from the third quarter of 2023 all the way to the second quarter of 2024, this P ratio is missing. It's empty or blank. All right. So what caused this problem? So I guess to kind of debug, we need to go back and check what this P ratio is defined. All right, so actually I purposely made this mistake. Actually I purposely have this P which have some blank cells just to help identify the problem and have a better understanding of the data structure. Okay, so here realize in the first step we take the last trading day of this current stock in the current quarter. Okay, so let's take a look here. The current trading day for, let's just take a look at this first row where we have this missing PE ratio. Okay, the first row in which we have the first missing PE ratio is related to July 3rd, 2023. Okay, so the PE ratio definition will retrieve the last trading day of Apple stock for the current quarter, because we're looking at July 3rd, 2023. The quarter should be the third quarter of 2023. So let's take a look at the last trading day of the third quarter of 2023. So let's scroll down all the way to September of 2023. Okay, so here we go. So you notice the last trading day of the third quarter is September 29th. So the second step, we're going to retrieve based on the last trading day of the third quarter of 2023, we're going to retrieve the EPS last year in the quarterly income data. All right. So realize this last trading day is September 29th. It's not really the last calendar day in the third quarter of 2023. Okay, the last calendar day should be September 30th. Okay, so there's actually one day off here. So when we use this date, September 29, to retrieve EPS last year from the quarterly income data, there's gonna be a problem. Because if you go to the quarterly income data, you will find all the dates there are actually the last calendar day in a quarter. So we will not have September 29, 2023 in that quarterly income data. There's only September 30th, 2023 in that quarterly income data. So that means we cannot, based on this date, all right, based on September 29, we cannot really retrieve any information from the quarterly income data set for EPS last year, because there's no such a date in the quarterly income data. So that means this E, the EPS last year, is going to be retrieved as a blank, all right, because there's no matching there. So it's going to be retrieved as a blank value. So when we calculate the P ratio, because E is a blank, all right, so this calculation will give you a P ratio also, which is also, this calculation will give you a blank P ratio as well. Okay, so that's why we have those blank P ratios across several quarters. Okay, so we can keep checking this situation. So basically, we realized the third quarter of 2023. The last trading day of the third quarter of 2023 is not the last calendar day in that quarter. So let's keep going. Let's see what about the fourth quarter of 2023? The last trading day of the fourth quarter of 2023 is December 29th. Again, that's not the last calendar day in the fourth quarter. The last calendar day should be December 31st, right? So again, there's a kind of you cannot match December 31st, 2023 in the quarterly income data set. So there's no way you can retrieve EPS last year for this fourth quarter of 2023 either. All right. So let's keep going. How about the first quarter of 2024? So the last trading day of the first quarter of 2024 is March 28th. So again, that's not the last calendar day of the first quarter of 2024. Okay. The last calendar day should be March 31st. So again, for this quarter, you cannot retrieve EPS last year from the quarterly income data set. So this situation actually all the way continues to the second quarter of 2024. You can see here the last trading day for the second quarter of 2024 is June 28th, which is not the same as the last calendar day in that quarter, which should be June 30th, right? So again, for this second quarter of 2024, we cannot retrieve a EPS last year from the quarterly income data. You will retrieve a blank value. So in that case, the P ratio will also be blank. So that's the reason we have those blank P's. So keep going. Let's check. In the third quarter of year 2024, well, here the last trading day in the third quarter of 2024 is September 30th, which is actually the same as the last calendar day in the third quarter. Okay, so in that case, because these two dates match, okay, the last trading day and the last calendar day of the third quarter of 2024 matches, so you can retrieve the EPS last year from quarterly income data with no problem here. Okay, so this explains why we have those blank PE ratios for certain quarters. So the next step is how to solve this problem.